दयाल, राम कृष्ण प्रभु परम दयाल, परम दयाल प्रभु परम दयाल, राम कृष्ण प्रभु परम दयाल, परम कृपाल मां परम कृपाल, श्री मां शारदा परम कृपाल, परम कृपाल मां परम कृपाल, श्री मां शारदा परम कृपाल, करुणा सागर युग अवतार, दया हमारी करो भव पार, करुणा सागर युग अवतार, दया हमारी करो भव पार, परम दयाल प्रभु परम दयाल, राम कृष्ण प्रभु परम दयाल, परम दयाल प्रभु परम दयाल, राम कृष्ण प्रभु परम दयाल, परम दयाल प्रभु परम दयाल, राम कृष्ण प्रभु परम दयाल, परम दयाल प्रभु परम दयाल, राम कृष्ण प्रभु परम दयाल, परम कृपाल मां परम कृपाल, श्री मां शारदा परम कृपाल, परम कृपाल मां परम कृपाल, श्री मां शारदा परम कृपाल, करुणा सागर युग अवतार, नैया हमारी करो भव पार, करुणा सागर युग अवतार, नैया हमारी करो भव पार, परम दयाल प्रभु परम दयाल, राम कृष्ण प्रभु परम दयाल, परम दयाल प्रभु परम दयाल, राम कृष्ण प्रभु परम दयाल, परम दयाल प्रभु परम दयाल, राम कृष्ण प्रभु परम दयाल। ओम श्री राम कृष्ण भगवान की जय। अम्मा अम्मा ताये अखिलांडेश्वरी नीये, अन्नपूर्णेश्वरी ताये हो आदि पराशक्ति नीये, अम्मा अम्मा ताये अखिलांडेश्वरी नीये, अन्नपूर्णेश्वरी ताये हो आदि पराशक्ति नीये, ओ माता ओ माता ओ माता ललिता माँ, ओ माता ओ माता ओ माता ललिता माँ, ओ माता ओ माता ओ माता शारदा माँ, ओ माता ओ माता ओ माता शारदा माँ, अम्मा परमेश्वरी अखिलांडेश्वरी आदि पराशक्ति पालय 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 माँ, अम्मा अम्मा ताये अखिलांडेश्वरी नीये अन्नपूर्णेश्वरी ताये ओ आदि पराशक्ति नीये ओ माता ओ माता ओ माता ललिता माँ ओ माता ओ माता ओ माता ललिता माँ ओ माता ओ माता ओ माता शारदा माँ ओ माता ओ माता ओ माता शारदा माँ अम्मा परमेश्वरी अखिलांडेश्वरी आदि पराशक्ति पालय 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 माँ अम्मा अम्मा ताये अखिलांडेश्वरी नीये अन्नपूर्णेश्वरी ताये हो आदि पराशक्ति नीये हो आदि पराशक्ति नीये हो आदि पराशक्ति नीये हो आदि पराशक्ति नीये ओम श्री राम कृष्ण भगवान की जय।
ॐ जय शिव शंकर जय अभयंकर
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 सांब सदा शिव शिव हर रे शिव हर रे शिव हर रे
सांब सदा शिव शिव हर रे शिव हर रे शिव हर रे
सांब सदा शिव शिव हर रे शिव हर रे शिव हर रे
सांब सदा शिव शिव हर रे शिव हर रे शिव हर रे
जय शिव शंकर जय अभयंकर
जय शिव शंकर जय अभयंकर
जय गंगाधर जय बिंबाधर
जय गंगाधर जय बिंबाधर
जय गंगाधर जय बिंबाधर
जय गंगाधर जय बिंबाधर
वाघंबरधर शिव हर रे शिव हर रे शिव हर रे
वाघंबरधर शिव हर रे शिव हर रे शिव हर रे
वाघंबरधर शिव हर रे शिव हर रे शिव हर रे
वाघंबरधर शिव हर रे शिव हर रे
शंकर जय अभयंकर
जय शिव शंकर जय अभयंकर
जय शिव शंकर जय अभयंकर
जय शिव शंकर जय अभयंकर
सांब सदा शिव शिव हर रे शिव हर रे शिव हर रे
सांब सदा शिव शिव हर रे शिव हर रे शिव हर रे
सांब सदा शिव शिव हर रे शिव हर रे शिव हर रे
सांब सदा शिव शिव हर रे शिव हर रे शिव हर रे
जय शिव शंकर जय अभयंकर
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 जय गंगाधर जय बिंबाधर जय गंगाधर जय बिंबाधर बाघंबर धर शिव हर रे शिव हर रे शिव हर रे बाघंबर धर शिव हर रे शिव हर रे शिव हर रे जय शिव शंकर जय अभयंकर
श्री रामकृष्ण भगवान की जय।
विघ्न विनाशक विनायका विघ्न विनाशक विनायका परिमुगने गणनायका परिमुगने गणनायका विघ्न विनाशक विनायका विघ्न विनाशक विनायका परिमुगने गणनायका परिमुगने गणनायका आदिमुदल्वन विनायका आदिमुदल्वन विनायका ज्ञानावली विनायका ज्ञानावली विनायका नमो कुमारा विनायका नमो कुमारा विनायका परिमुगने गणनायका परिमुगने गणनायका विघ्न विनाशक विनायका विघ्न विनाशक विनायका परिमुगने गणनायका परिमुगने गणनायका आदिमुदल्वन विनायका आदिमुदल्वन विनायका ज्ञानावली विनायका ज्ञानावली विनायका नमो कुमारा विनायका नमो कुमारा विनायका परिमुगने गणनायका परिमुगने गणनायका
Shri Ramakrishna Bhagavan ki Jai. Om Yathagnirdahika Shaktiः Ramakrishne Sthita Hiya Sarvavidya Swarupam Tam Sharadam Pranamamyaham. Om Namo Naranaya, respected elders, dear sisters, brothers, and loving children. As yesterday was the auspicious occasion of Sri Ganesh Chaturthi, we will continue glorifying this beautiful aspect of God. Once, a little boy was walking in a village. He had a handful of rice and some milk with him. He wanted someone to make a bowl of kheer. The loving boy called out, "Can someone please make some kheer for me?" Everyone ignored him because they knew that a handful of rice and milk were not sufficient to make kheer. The boy did not lose hope. He continued asking the same question. A poor old woman heard the call. She happily agreed to make the kheer for him. The boy was delighted and asked her to cook it in a big vessel. The old woman was puzzled, but she did as the boy requested. She borrowed a big vessel from her neighbor, put the rice, milk, and some sugar in the vessel to cook. As the kheer was cooking, the boy said, "Ma, I have to go now, but will return shortly." He made the woman promise that she would not eat the kheer before he had tasted it. The old woman happily agreed. After some time, she fell asleep and woke up to the fragrant aroma of the kheer. When she looked at the vessel, to her amazement, it was full to the brim with kheer. She felt content that Lord Ganesha had blessed her. She was very hungry but waited for the boy to return. When the lad did not arrive, she devotionally offered the kheer to Lord Ganesha and then ate until she was full. When the boy returned, the old woman asked for forgiveness, as she felt that she had broken her promise. The boy's face beamed with joy as he replied, "You have not broken your promise, Ma, since you have offered it to me. I am Lord Ganesha." The woman was overjoyed as she prostrated to her Lord. Ganeshji blessed her, and she was in divine ecstasy. If we have faith in God and pray to Him earnestly, He will reveal Himself to us. Lord Ganesha is always worshipped first before worshipping any deity or before commencing any new project. He removes all our obstacles and allows us to progress holistically. The symbolism of Lord Ganesha is very interesting as it teaches us many valuable lessons. The elephant head of Ganeshji symbolizes wisdom. An elephant has a very good memory and never forgets. The significance of this is that we have forgotten our divine nature. Swami Vivekananda says, "The cause of all the pain and suffering that we see in this world is due to ignorance of our divine nature." Our Gurujis always remind us of the importance of japa and meditation. Through regular prayer, we can eradicate all the worldly thoughts from our minds until we feel the peace of the Atman. We have to remind ourselves that we are not the body and mind, but the blissful Atman. The large ears of Sri Ganesha are like winnowing fan. Just as a winnowing fan separates the chaff from the grain, we too must reject everything that is not conducive to spiritual progress. Sometimes worldly gossips sound so interesting that we want to listen to them, but these talks take our minds away from the truth or absolute reality. It is far more profitable to listen to constructive conversations or to divine wisdom. The little mouse seated near the feet of Sri Ganesha reminds us to control our minds. The mouse is a vehicle of the Lord. It is always restless and cannot be still. Yet Ganeshji has absolute control over it. Our ego or undisciplined mind leads us astray. When we control this agitated, impatient mind, we can attain supreme knowledge by awakening our innate divinity. Then we say, O Lord, you are the master, and I am your servant or devotee. The whole world belongs to you. I too belong to you, O Lord. Please guide and bless me. Sri Ramakrishna says that if we can believe that we are the instruments of God, we can be free in this very life. Saints always remind us that regular prayer and meditation must never be given up, no matter how busy we may be. When we have the correct attitude, even obstacles become a blessing, and we will be able to handle our challenges positively. In one hand, Ganeshi holds a noose, and in the other, a goad. With the goad, he urges us along the path of spirituality. A saint interpreted this positively. He said that once we attract God through our love and devotion, God will never leave us. Somehow, win the grace of God and be caught in his eternal noose, the noose of love and compassion. Then Ganeshi will bless us and make us eternally free. God loves his devotees and binds them to him by granting everlasting peace and bliss. Lord Ganesha's lower hand indicates abhayankar, which means fear not. Hinduism always teaches us to be fearless. Swami Vivekananda says, the remedy for weakness is not brooding over weakness, but thinking of strength that is already within you. Strength is goodness, weakness is sin. Lord Ganesha assures us that he is always with us and we should not fear. The things of the world give us temporary joy as they are transient and not long-lasting. If we want eternal peace and contentment, we must give our hearts to God. Sri Ramakrishna gives us excellent advice when he says, live like a maid servant in a rich man's house. She does all her duties, but her thoughts are in the village where her own home is. So we too must do all our duties to the best of our ability, but give our hearts to God. God is our anchor in life, and by praying to him, we can have inner strength to cope with our challenges. Our scriptures have infinite stories to teach us about the importance of love and devotion to God. Sri Ramakrishna also says that holy company begets yearning and love for God. Auvaiyar was a great devotee of God from a young age. She was well versed in music, dance, and poetry. She loved to meditate, compose, and sing soul-stirring hymns to God. She also composed many simple poems that are rich with meaning and have useful lessons of life. Auvaiyar's favorite deity was Lord Ganesha. She said, his long trunk, big ears, and kind eyes fascinate me. I loved to play a game with him. During my daily worship, I used to always offer him 4 cups of prasad, each filled with milk, honey, rice pudding, and nuts. I pleaded with my beloved Ganesha, saying, O Lord, I am offering you 4 things. In return, I only want 3, the gifts of poetry, music, and drama. I thought that this was a good deal, since Ganesha is clearly the winner here, because I gave him 4 and asked for only 3 in return. My beloved God, whose kindness is infinite, honored my proposal. By his grace, I became famous in poetry, music, and drama. Never for a moment did I pause to think that my parents had abandoned me at birth, for I was grateful to my foster father, whose interest in poetry moved me in that direction too. My natural talent earned me fame. Soon I was pestered with proposals for marriage, which hindered my work and took my mind away from God and poetry. Who else could I turn to but Lord Ganesha? I prayed earnestly and requested Ganesha to remove my beauty, as it had become a burden and was a distraction to me. The gracious Lord blessed me, and can you believe that I aged overnight? My hair turned completely grey, and I lost all my teeth. My eyes became sunken in, and my body aged like that of an old woman. I rejoiced at this transformation. In place of my brightly colored dress, I had a robe of a monk and a walking stick. Strange to say that when this happened, I had no more marriage proposals. I could now focus on my devotion to God and do His work. My wanderings were a great source of education and inspiration for me, as I felt the presence of God with me all the time. Once I had a wonderful experience. After a long walk, I was tired and sat beneath a madoni tree, the favorite fruit of my Lord Ganesha. I was too tired to get up and shake some down. I noticed a cowherd boy who, while grazing his buffaloes, was resting on the branches of the tree. This little child called out to me, "Oh, Grandma, do you want hot fruits or cold fruits?" I wanted to tease the lad since he was being mischievous, so I asked for hot fruit. The boy shook the tree and many fruit fell onto the sand below. Picking them up, I had to blow on them to clear the dust. Since I was blowing them, the boy laughed and asked, "Are the fruits too hot, Grandma?" The young boy had outsmarted me, a wise old woman. I realized that he was no ordinary cowherd boy. In my heart and soul, I knew that he was none other than Muruga, the brother of Lord Ganesha. Our scriptures have innumerable stories which increase our devotion to God. Sri Ramakrishna says, "One should weep for God. When the impurities of the mind are washed away, one realizes God. The mind is like a needle covered with mud, and God is like a magnet. The needle cannot be united with the magnet unless the mud is removed. Tears wash away the mud, which is nothing but lust, anger, greed, and other vices. As soon as the mud is washed away, the magnet attracts the needle. That is to say, man realizes God. Only the pure in heart can see God." Sri Ramakrishna adds, "The wind of God's grace is blowing incessantly. Lazy sailors on the sea of life do not take advantage of it. But the active and the strong always keep the sails of their minds unfurled to catch the favorable wind and thus reach their destination very soon. May Lord Ganesha bestow His infinite grace on us so that we might worship Him with love and devotion. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
भयभञ्जन पुरुष निरञ्जन रतिपति गञ्जनकारी जति जन रञ्जन मनोमद खण्डन यति जन रञ्जन मनोमद खण्डन जय भव वन्दन हारी जय भव वन्दन हारी शुभ साधक मतिमल पावक चिर शुभ साधक मतिमल पावक जय चित संशय त्राता जय चित संशय त्राता सुर नर वंदन विजय विवंदन चित मन नंदन कारी रिपु जय मंथन जय भवतारण रिपु जय मंथन जय भवतारण स्थल जल भूधर धारी स्थल जल भूधर धारी शमदम मंदन अभय निकेतन जय जय मंगलदाता जय सुख सागर नटवर नागर जय सुख सागर नटवर नागर जय शरणागत पाता जय शरणागत पाता ब्रह्मतम भास्कर जय परमेश्वर सुखकर सुंदर भाषा अचल सनातन जय भव पावन अचल सनातन जय भव पावन जय विजयी अविनाशी जय विजयी अविनाशी भक्त कवि मोहन वरतनु धारण जय हरि कीर्तन भोला गद गद भाषण चित मन तोषण गद गद भाषण चित मन तोषण धल धल नर्तन लीला धल धल नर्तन लीला मति गति वर्धन कलिमल मर्दन विषय विराग प्रसारी जल चित चेतक भव जल भेलक जल चित चेतक भव जल भेलक जय नर मानस चारी जय नर मानस चारी जय पुरुषोत्तम अनुपम संयम जय जय अंतर्यामी हर तर साधन नर दुख वारण हर तर साधन नर दुख वारण जय राम कृष्ण नमामि 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 ओम श्री राम कृष्ण भगवान की जय
Om Namo Narayana, dear sisters and brothers. Let us sit calmly and meditate for a few moments. Feel that the Lord is blessing us and showering His infinite grace upon us. O beloved Lord, we entreat you, please protect us from any of the vices. Please save us from illnesses. Please protect the whole world. Unto the heavens be peace, unto the sky and the earth be peace. Peace be unto the waters, unto the herbs and the trees be peace. Unto Brahman and unto all be peace. May we realize that peace. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
ॐ सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरि ॐ तत्सत्
जय श्री गुरु महाराज की
जय।
महामाई की
जय।
स्वामी जी महाराज की
जय।
गंगा मात की
जय।
महावीर स्वामी जी की
जय।
सर्व ऋषि मुनीन की
जय। पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव की जय। ॐ नमो नारायणाय।
Never find fault in others. Rather, see your own faults. No one is a stranger, my child. The whole world is your own. Om Namo Narayanaya. Today, I will be speaking on the Holy Mother, Sri Sarada Devi, continuing from last week's lesson. We will look at what we can learn from Holy Mother's time in Dakshineshwar. When Sri Sarada Devi was 19, she set off on pilgrimage to Kolkata to visit Sri Ramakrishna, despite the idle gossip that she was married to a so-called madman. On her way to Kolkata, Sarada Ma unfortunately fell ill and had to stop to rest in a shed nearby. During the night, she experienced terrible fever and was very ill. However, she was blessed to have a beautiful vision of Mother Kali. Sarada Ma described it as thus. I saw Mother as a beautiful woman of dark complexion, who came and stroked my body. Mother reassured me that I will be able to see the Master. When Holy Mother asked who she was, she simply said, "I am your sister." When Holy Mother woke up the next morning, her fever had left her. She was able to carry on with her journey to Dakshineshwar. When she arrived at Dakshineshwar, Sharda went to Sri Ramakrishna's room. He received her cordially, and when he learnt of her illness, he immediately arranged for her treatment. Sharda soon discovered that her husband was not mad. He was tender and affectionate, as he had always been to her. She remained by his side as his wife and disciple. Their relationship was so immaculate and pure that not even for a moment did they look at each other as husband and wife. Rather, each saw only God in each other. Sri Ramakrishna taught Sri Sarada Devi deep spiritual truths and awakened God consciousness in her. Obviously, it is extremely difficult to lead a life as simple and as pure as Holy Mother and Sri Ramakrishna did. But we, as modern human beings, can try and adapt a few lessons and principles from the lifestyle of Sri Sarada Devi and the Master, such as never finding fault in others, seeing the good in bad situations and people, by engaging in more spiritual practices and meditation, and by taking good care of ourselves and caring for others, we too can take a step closer to a purer and more spiritual lifestyle as they did. One day, Sri Ramakrishna asked Mother Sharda, "Have you come to drag me down to worldly life?" "Certainly not," she replied. "Why should I entangle you in this world? I'm here to help you with your mission." On another occasion, Holy Mother asked the Master how he looked upon her. He immediately replied, "The mother that gave birth to this body and the mother that I worship in the temple is verily here by my side. I look upon you as the Divine Mother." The Master recognized Sri Sarada Devi as the incarnation of the Divine Mother. On the night of the auspicious Falaharini Puja, the Master arranged a special worship to the Divine Mother in his room. In a spiritual mood, he beckoned to Sharda to sit on the holy altar of worship. He offered formal worship to her as the Divine Mother. This is known as Shodashi Puja. It was the first time that an incarnation of God worshipped his consort as the Divine Shakti or power. Soon, both the worshipper and the worshipped entered into a deep state of samadhi. Sri Ramakrishna then surrendered the fruit of his spiritual practices at Sri Sarada Devi's feet. The simple village girl was now transformed into a goddess and was known as the Holy Mother. Her legacy still lives on today, and she is considered the Mother of the universe. Mother Sharda practiced her japa and meditation every morning, as early as 4 or 5 in the morning. The Master was often found in states of divine ecstasy, dancing and talking with his devotees. Sharada Devi would look through a hole in the curtain partition to see the Master in this state. The mother faced many tough challenges while staying at Dakshineshwar. She lived in a tiny room, which she used as her bedroom, kitchen, storeroom, and everything else. Sometimes she also had to accommodate the women disciples of Sri Ramakrishna in this small room. Initially, she cooked for 2 or 3 persons, but as the number of devotees grew, she cooked for more and more people. Mother also had to cook to suit the tastes of different devotees, and again she had to arrange for devotees at odd hours. But the Holy Mother never complained. She was never agitated nor annoyed, but rather she was sweet and motherliness personified. Throughout her life, Mother had inner strength and courage. It would have been extremely difficult for others to do what she did. This teaches us that we too must be calm, pray regularly, and develop inner strength instead of complaining. The power of prayer fills us with strength and courage. Sri Ramakrishna was very strict with his young disciples with regards to their spiritual practices and diet. One day he learned that Babu Ram, later Swami Premananda, had 5 or 6 chapatis to eat at night. That was too many, he thought, and asked why he took such a large quantity so late at night. The young boy replied that the Holy Mother served them to him. The master then took Holy Mother to task for thus spoiling the spiritual prospects of the boys. At this, the mother replied, "You need not worry about their welfare. I will look after that." The master saw the motherly love behind these words and simply laughed. Could a mother refuse to give sufficient food to her children? That was impossible. Holy Mother always ensured that everyone who stayed with them in their household was properly taken care of and were content. She spent her whole life serving others selflessly. She served persons of any caste or class in society equally. She was selfless, courageous, kind, and brave. No task was too difficult for her, and nothing frustrated her. I think that it would be beneficial if we took one of the many lessons that Mother has taught us and applied to use in our daily lives, because she was truly an example of spirituality and godliness. May Sri Sarada Devi bless us all. Thank you.